What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope you're all doing well. A lot of good stuff to get to. Let's jump right into it. Super Bowl was last night. The Seattle Seahawks defeat the New England Patriots to win Super Bowl 60, 29-13. A dominant performance by the Seattle Seahawks. They were up 19 to nothing in the fourth quarter, win 29-13. Sam Darnold wasn't great, but gets the job done. 19 of 38 for 202 yards and a touchdown. The MVP of the game was Kenneth Walker. 27 carries, 135 yards, totals 161 total yards in this game. He been Super Bowl MVP. I think he's the eighth running back ever to win Super Bowl MVP, and the first was Terrell Davis for Denver back in 1998. Cooper Kupp, 6 catches, 61 yards. JSN was not much of a factor in this one, to be honest. Was hurt at one point in the game briefly with a concussion. Drake May really struggled in this game. 27 to 43 for 295 yards. He kind of stat pad at the end. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and a lost fumble. Ramondre Stevenson and Trayvon Henderson combined for just 13 carries for just 42 yards. That is less than 3 yards a carry between the two of them. Matt Collins, 78 yards and a touchdown, was the only receiver to really put together anything special for the New England Patriots. The Seahawks have saved us from the New England Patriots winning their Super Bowl. Thank you to the Seattle Seahawks. Once more the Patriots for a minute. I tried to tell you guys, this team played probably the easiest schedule maybe in NFL history all season. You played the New York Jets, who were a disaster twice. First time you played them, they played against Justin Fields, who sucks. Second time was Brady Cook, who's not an NFL quarterback. Played the Miami Dolphins twice. They are not a very good team. The first time you had Tua in there, who was not very good this year. The second time you played them, it was Quinn Ewers, and his, third career NFL start, was a 7th round pick this year. You played the Bucks, who weren't very good. You played the Titans, who were god-awful, with a rookie Cam Ward, who wasn't very good all year. You played, who else did this team play? They did not play a lot of teams. They played the Saints in the beginning of the year when they were really, really bad, with Spencer freaking Rattler. Played the Falcons, who weren't very good in the beginning of the year when they had Michael Penix in there. He was horrible this year. Kirk Cousins was miles better than Michael Penix this year, and Kirk doesn't exactly light the world on fire either. They put a very, very easy schedule. They somehow lost to the Raiders with Geno Smith in week 1, which I still don't understand how that happened. In the playoffs, you played the Chargers. Justin Herbert played horrible in that game. In the division round, CJ Stroud was absolutely incompetent. In the AFC Championship game, you played Denver with a backup quarterback of Bo Nixon. You played Jarrett Stidham, who had thrown a pass in the NFL in 2 full calendar years in a blizzard. Denver missed 2 field goals in the game because of the snow. And then you finally face a real-ish quarterback in Sam Darnold, who wasn't even that great. He only completed 50% of his passes. Barely cleared 200 passing yards on 38 attempts. And you still got your ass beat. You still got your ass kicked. Look, that Seattle defense is great, but Dalvin Glenn did a terrible job. Will Campbell alone gave up 14 pressures. He looked really bad in the playoffs. It's starting to look like they should have taken Armband Membu, but just took with the 7th overall pick, opposed to Will Campbell. Membu was, of course, the second tackle off the board in this year's draft, this past year's draft. Campbell was the first one. Campbell went 4th overall to the New England Patriots. 7th overall was Armband Membu to the Jets. Membu was miles better than Campbell this year. Campbell's looked bad all postseason. Down the stretch was not good since coming off the injury. He allowed 14 pressures in this game. In one game, he allowed 14 pressures. That's hard to do. Yikes. And Drake May, this guy should never been in MVP talks. I'm not saying he's bad. He's a good quarterback, very talented, could have a great career, but he's still really green. He was really bad in this game. He didn't even look competent till maybe the last 8 minutes of this game when they were down 19 to nothing. He was awful. He was absolutely terrible. He has to be better. He's not there yet. Do not put this guy in top 5 conversations. Do not put this guy in MVP talks. He's not that guy, at least not yet. And Stephon Diggs, pathetic how the NFL moved his court case till after the Super Bowl so he can play in the playoffs. Guy was a ghost in this game. 3 catches, 37 yards. He started the fight at one point for no reason. The guy's a complete bitch and a complete loser. Milton Williams, Patriots DD tackle, also has a really pretty heinous crime he's being accused of. Nothing's happened to him yet. It's just pathetic how the NFL allows stuff like this to happen. And like Mike Vrabel, I like Mike Vrabel a lot. He's a really good coach. He was coach of the year this year. I don't think should have been coach of the year, but he was definitely one of like the 3 or 4 best candidates. And fourth quarter, 4 from 1 from your own 40, you don't go for it? Like, what are you doing? That's a terrible decision. Absolutely terrible. Just a horrible performance by the New England Patriots. They are frauds. Next year, they're going to have a much tougher schedule. And unless they do something crazy in the offseason, I don't expect them to be able to even kind of replicate even similar success that they did this season. As for the Seattle Seahawks, that defense put together one of the best performances I've seen a defense put together in a single Super Bowl. They had 6 sacks, 2 each from Derek Hall and Byron Murphy. 6 sacks total. They forced 3 turnovers. Were getting pressure on May literally all night. The secondary did a great job. The few times where the Seahawks did not, were not generating a huge amount of pressure. The secondary locked down the Patriots receivers. They did an absolutely outstanding job. The Seattle defense is so good. They are so deep up front. Coming off the edge, they got guys. This team is really deep. Not only do you have guys like, Ushena Nulusu, who's very good. You have a guy like Boya Mafe from a first-round pick who's good. DeMarcus Lawrence is a really good player. He's very underrated. Remember when he said, right after he signed Seattle, like he left the Cowboys because he needed Dallas never won a Super Bowl. Micah Parsons called him out. And then DeMarcus Lawrence goes and wins a Super Bowl, and Micah Parsons makes the playoffs with the Green Bay Packers. He was hurt for the end of the season, and they lose in the first round. Funny how that works. And the interior of this D-line is insane. They have Leonard Williams, who's one of the most underrated players in the entire NFL. The reason he doesn't get the recognition he deserves, Leonard Williams, because of the role that he plays and the position he plays, he doesn't rack up that many stats. Like, he doesn't have that many tackles. He's not racking up crazy sack numbers. But if you watch the games, you realize this is one of the most impactful players in the entire NFL. In fact, the only defensive player on either team, as good as both these defenses are, and how many big names are on either of these defenses that is even compared to him, is maybe Christian Gonzalez on the New England Patriots. Big Cat, Leonard Williams, is an incredible player. I would argue maybe the best defensive tackle in football. Dexter Lawrence isn't the same anymore. I would say Chris Jones is starting to lose a step at his age. Or I'd argue Leonard Williams is the best defensive tackle in the NFL. You have Byron Murphy, that was a great draft pick last year. He's really good. He had 2 sacks in this game. Derek Hall's another guy you recently drafted. He had 2 sacks in this game. You have Jaron Reed in his second tour of the Seahawks. He's really good, especially against the run. Like, Seahawks, the middle of the D-line is the best in the entire NFL. At linebacker, you got Ernest Jones, who had a game-high 11 tackles in this game. He's very, very good. He's a great player. He's your top linebacker. Another really underrated piece. And then just look at the secondary. You got Devon Witherspoon, who was a 5th overall pick a few years ago. He's a stud. He was fantastic in this game. He's probably the best defensive back in terms of pass rushing in the entire league. Tariq Woolen, rough game in the conference championship, getting that 15-yard penalty and then getting torched. But he is a very good player. Excellent slot corner. And this team is just piled with top-level defensive backs. Julian Love's a good safety. He had an interception in this game. Nick Emanawari, he got hurt in practice, ended up playing through an injury. He had a really good year as a rookie this year. Safety. He was a second-round pick. Josh Jobe is an underrated player they have. Kobe Bryant's really good. This defense is absolutely nuts. And, the top 3 defenses in the league this year, in whatever order, I think we're clearly Houston, Seattle, and Denver. Seattle was truly the best defense in the NFL. Absolutely nuts. And Mike Macdonald, I tweeted this last night. Mike Macdonald is one of the 2 or 3 best hires in the last 25 years. That guy is an absolute genius. He is a fantastic head coach. At least one of the 5 best head coaches in the entire sport. Probably should have been the coach of the year, to be honest, this year. And he did an incredible job this year with the Seahawks. Doing this in 2 years to do this with Seattle is incredible. There's a reason Clint Kubiak is getting a head coaching position. He officially accepted with the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are a dump, but if anyone can turn him around, it's him. He's a brilliant offensive mind. Aiden Durd, their defensive coordinator, even got some looks. There's a reason that happened. Just a really well coached team, a great organization. They've drafted really well. John Schneider is top 5 general manager in the sport. Just going down the list, getting Kenneth Walker in the second round. He was hurt the last 2 playoff games, but throughout the year, he was a big piece of their running game. Zach Charbonnet was a third-round pick. And, looking at the defensive side of the ball, a lot of these guys were draft picks. Devon Witherspoon was a high pick. Tariq Woolen, he got in the third round. Derek Hall was a day 2 pick. He took Byron Murphy in the first round, I think, a year ago. A lot of these guys were draft picks. Even Boya Mafe, who hasn't been great as being a first round pick, even he's, is a productive player. And he's found guys in free agency. Bring in DeMarcus Lawrence, bringing back Jaron Reed, bring in Leonard Williams. He traded from thinking up a lot and ends up re-signing him. Julian Love was not a very high pick. Nick Amadawari was a second round pick. Bring in Ernest Jones on the offensive side of the ball. Taking the gamble after Sam Darnold, who struggled through the first bunch of his career, has a good year in Minnesota, taking the gamble on the multi-year deal, and he came in and delivered. Obviously, JSN was a first-round pick. Taking a chance, giving a pretty big deal to an older injury-prone player, Cooper Kupp, who had a good year this year. Making the trade for Rashid Shaheed. This is a perfectly built team. John Schneider is an incredible GM, and congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks on winning Super Bowl 60. Let's move on. A couple of international NFL notes. The Rams and Niners are going to play in Australia this coming season. The Dallas Cowboys are going to play a game in Brazil. First time the Dallas Cowboys will be playing in the international game since 2014. Goodell's got to stop these international games. If you want to have a game in London, maybe fine, I guess. But we got to play a game in Germany, and Australia, and Brazil. They're playing a game in Spain now. It's just getting ridiculous. This is American football. The games should be played in America, okay? If Goodell could play a game on the moon, he's going to do it. And by the way, in the next decade, we're going to have a team in London, if not multiple. It's very obvious. It'll probably either be the Jacksonville Jaguars or probably the New York Jets. So be prepared. NFL awards recently came out. League MVP was Matthew Stafford. Thank goodness he was not Drake May. Stafford had an incredible year. Level league in passing yards and passing touchdowns at 37 years old. Defensive player of the year was Myles Garrett, 23 sacks, NFL record. Not much else to say. Offensive rookie of the year was Tet McMillan. I know people thought from Jackson Dart wasn't good enough down the stretch. Tet, over 1,100 yards, or over 1,000 yards, definitely deserved it this year. The first ever protector of the year was Bears guard Joe Thuney. Absolute stud. Might be a Hall of Fame level offensive lineman when he retires. Comeback player of the year was Christian McCaffrey. Argument for Dak Prescott. I think they got it right. McCaffrey stayed healthy and had a huge year. Led the league of 413 touches. 44 more than any other player in the league. Over 2,100 yards and 17 touchdowns. Those are both top 3 marks in the NFL. Coach of the year was Mike Vrabel. There was a lot of top candidates this year. I would have went with probably Mike McDonald or Ben Johnson, but Vrabel, he did do a great job this year. 10-win improvement for them. They were in the Super Bowl. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Carson Schwarzenegger. He did have a very good year. Second round pick this year from Cleveland. 146 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 2 picks. He did have a really good season. The Offensive Player of the Year was Jackson Smith-Njigba. Incredible year with the Seahawks. 1,793 yards, 10 touchdowns. Was the best receiver in football by far. Assistant Coach of the Year was Josh McDaniels. That doesn't mean really a whole lot, and he certainly didn't show up in the playoffs with how the Patriots offense looked in the postseason. But moving along, NFL Hall of Fame class was announced. 5 guys got in. Obviously, very controversially, no Bill Belichick and no Robert Kraft, but Drew Brees gets in. It's kind of a no-brainer. Definitely a no-brainer. Started to screw with the Chargers, of course, for a few seasons. Has a shoulder injury in 2005. Doctors think he'll never play again. He says, screw you. I'm going to the Saints on a 5-year deal. The rest is history. Second all-time leading passer and passing yards and passing touchdowns. Super Bowl winner in New Orleans. Did it for a very long time. Roger Craig should not have taken him as long. He was with the 49ers for 8 years and then played briefly with the Raiders and then the Vikings. Great running back. Should have been in it years ago. Larry Fitzgerald. I argue Larry Fitzgerald's one of the five greatest receivers of all time. Did it for a long time. Absolute superstar. Incredible playoff performer. Absolutely deserves to be in. Luke Kuechly. Unfortunately, only played 8 years. Injuries shortened his career, but one of the more game-changing linebackers the league has ever seen. If he played a little longer, would have definitely been amongst the 3 or 4 greatest linebackers of all time. Or he should at least be in the one of the 10 greatest linebackers ever. Kuechly changed the game. Absolutely a Hall of Famer. And Adam Vinatieri. Greatest kicker of all time. He won 3 Super Bowls. He had 2 game-winning kicks with New England, where he spent 10 years, the last almost 15 years in Indianapolis. Did it well into his 40s, and Vinatieri is the greatest kicker of all time. I don't think there is much of a debate about that. And some NFL coaching news. We got Jim Schwartz has officially stepped down from the Cleveland Browns as their defensive coordinator. Good for him. They wanted a head coach to keep him on the staff. They interviewed Schwartz. They passed him over for Todd Monken. If I'm Schwartz, yeah, I'm leaving too. I heard he's probably going to take the year off. If so, expect him to at least be a defensive coordinator somewhere next year, if not a head coach. The Rams hired Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not a Cliff guy, but this is a really good hire. We don't know what his role will be. If I had to guess, Nate Schiehaus gets promoted to offensive coordinator with Mike LaFleur becoming a head coach in Arizona. And Cliff Kingsbury probably fills the role that Schiehaus had this past season. I mean, look, I don't think he's a very good head coach. He's, as an offensive coordinator, he works some places he doesn't. But I think him and McVay, they're very familiar with each other. Their offenses are relatively similar. They have a lot of respect for each other. This is a really good fit on the staff. I think he will help out on that offense a lot. And considering all of McVay's guys end up getting head coach jobs, he will probably be a head coach in 2027. The Bears promote their passing game coordinator, Press Taylor, to offensive coordinator. He was in Philadelphia for a while as an assistant. He was the offensive coordinator under Doug Peterson in Jacksonville for a bit. This isn't a bad hire. I mean, look, I think they're being held up by Caleb Williams. If you've watched the show, you know how I feel about him. But, Ben Johnson does a lot of heavy lifting that offense out of way. And then we have a front office move. The Atlanta Falcons fire the vice president of football operations, Ryan Pace. I mean, the whole front office should be fired. to be honest, he was a terrible GM in Chicago. Wasn't obviously very productive in Atlanta. Who cares? And also about the Atlanta Falcons, they're expected to cut Kirk Cousins before the new league year. They had him take a massive pay cut this year. So he's actually only making $2 million, but now he's due like $37 or $39 million in 2027. If he's still on the roster when the new league year starts in the middle of March, in a little over a month, his salary becomes guaranteed for 2027, and it's over 67, almost $68 million. So he's just not worth it at this point in his career, obviously. So he's probably the best option right now. I don't think panic is it. Obviously, you got a new regime coming in completely. New coaching staff. You got a new GM, Ian Cunningham. Matt Ryan, longtime quarterback for the Falcons, now the team president. So completely fresh regime for Atlanta. That being said, I don't know really what their options are going to be. That being said, Kirk Cousins, you cannot risk eventually paying him almost $70 million. He's going to be 38 years old next year. Let's talk some baseball. World Baseball Classic is approaching us. Let's look into the roster for the USA team. It wasn't looking like this year. They should have a good shot to win it. Should have won it last year. Of course, lost to Japan in the final before tying striking out Mike Trout. The catchers are Cal Raleigh, who was an MVP finalist this year in the American League. I thought should have won the award. Had over 50 home runs, of course. A historic year. And then Will Smith from the Dodgers, also a great player. Their infielders are Alex Bregman. I expect him to start at third base. Ernie Clement, he'll be on the bench. Paul Goldschmidt, who the Yankees just re-signed, he'll be on the bench. Bryce Harper, he'll be the first baseman. Gunnar Henderson will probably should get a lot of time. I would think Bryce Turang, Platinum Glove winner at second. I expect him to get the bulk of the time at second base. And Bobby Witt Jr. Witt will start over Gunnar Henderson. I expect Gunnar to play a lot, though. In the outfit, you have Byron Buxton, Corbin Carroll, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Aaron Judge. Judge, of course, won his third MVP in 4 years. Hopefully, he doesn't hit like he does in the playoffs in the World Baseball Classic, but I'm sure he'll be in right field. I think Buxton's got to be in there. Then Carroll or PCA, kind of take your pick. They're probably going to both play. Kyle Schwarber will be the DH. The manager is Mark DeRosa. He played in the league for a while. He's gotten into coaching. The pitching coach is Andy Pettit, longtime Yankees starting pitcher, was a very clutch pitcher in his day. Sean Casey is the hitting coach. Matt Holliday, who was played on the USA team for a long time, was a great pro, is also the hitting coach. First base coach is George Lombard. Third base coach is Dino Ebel. I don't know a lot of these guys now, or a couple of these guys I don't know. David Ross is the bullpen coach, who's a longtime catcher in the league. He won a World Series with the Cubs in 2016, his last ever season. Trey Gonzalez, longtime Braves manager, is the assistant manager. The other two assistant managers are Brian McCann, who was a catcher in the league for a long time, mainly with Atlanta, also played for the Yankees and the Houston Astros. And he played on his team for a while. And Michael Young, who was a longtime player for the Texas Rangers. That's those are the assistant managers. And the general manager of the team is Michael Hale, who was the GM of the Marlins years ago for a while. And the pitching staff, the starting pitchers are Matthew Boyd. You got Garrett Clevenger, Clay Holmes, and Brad Keller. Clayton Kershaw, who retired after last season, after a historic career with the Dodgers, is on this team. Noel McLean, the Metro rookie sensation. Joe Ryan, Paul Skeens, Twixku Ball, Michael Waka, and Logan Webb. It's a loaded staff. Their bullpen is David Bednar, Griffin Jacks, Mason Miller, Gabe Spire, and Garrett Whitlock. I'm sure some of those will kind of be used as like short level relievers, but that starting rotation is insane. Skeens and Scuball, plus Joe Ryan. You got Logan Webb as well. Hell, Noel McLean is one of the best, is an up-and-comer as well. Kershaw to just, I don't know, just hang out, I guess. Mason Miller, I'm sure, will close for them. And also, the lineups got Kyle Rowley and Aaron Judge and Harper, and they should be just fine. Byron Buxton, Bob Witt, Schwarber, I think you get the gist of things with the USA roster that hopefully they win the World Baseball Classic this year. Speaking of Rick Screwball, he won his arbitration case against the Detroit Tigers, and kind of a shocker. Usually it doesn't happen. So he will make the $32 million that he wanted to make. I mentioned the Yankees re-signed Paul Goldschmidt. I think it's a fine signing. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, I think, Paul Goldschmidt. He's been an All-Star 7 times in his career. Former MVP, he's been Gold Glove 4 times, been a Silver Slugger 5 times, was MVP in 2022. Last year, hit 274, 10 home runs, 45 RBIs, a 731 OPS. Been declining for a couple of years, but hit lefties really, really well last year. Is still a decent first baseman. I think he will probably get the at-bats against lefties. Also a better defender than Ben Rice is. So, Goldschmidt re-signed with the Yankees for a season. The Pirates today signed Marcell Ozuna for $12 million. Obviously, we all know the outfield tilt that happened years ago, but he's still a very middle of the order bat. We're probably DH for them. And we had a big trade that broke this morning. The Boston Red Sox and Milwaukee Brewers struck a deal. The Red Sox acquire Caleb Durbin, Brewers third baseman. Also got Andrew Monasterio and Anthony Siegler in this deal. They send the Brewers Kyle Harrison, Shane Drohan, and David Hamilton. So this trade kind of came out of nowhere, very random. I don't love it for Red Sox. I like it slightly more for Boston. I like Caleb Durbin. Last year was a rookie. They got him for Devin Williams last year. For the Brewers, he hit 256, 11 homers, 53 RBIs, 18 steals, 721 OPS. He was okay at the plate. Was very good defensively at third. Was okay at the plate. He's got good wheels. I do think he'll get better as his career goes on. Boston kind of already has a logjam on the infield. Maybe he gets second base reps over, Roman Gonzalez, whoever else they have filling in the gap at second base. Maybe he plays third over Marcelo Mayer and Christian Campbell, at least to start the year. They get Andrew Monasterio. Monasterio last year had his best year today at the plate at 270 in 126 at-bats last year. 755 OPS, can play all over the field defensively. So he's a utility piece that you bring in. Wasn't really needed because they have so many position players. We all thought they were going to trade Duran or a Brave. Didn't end up happening, at least not yet. Pitchers and catchers are going to be reporting in the next at least couple of weeks, if not next week or so. And then Anthony Siegler. is a young infielder. He's a prospect that they add as well. He's mainly a catcher. He's not very good. He hit under 200 in the minor leagues last year. For the Brewers, they bring Kyle Harrison. I don't hate Kyle Harrison. He was the main piece of the Rafael Devers trade. Uh, First full year with the Giants 2 years ago, and 24 starts with a 4.56 ERA, 124 and a third. Last year started off meh with San Francisco. I moved to the bullpen, got traded to Boston, put in the minors, only pitched in 3 games for Boston in the regular season, but he's still young. He is still 24 years old. They also get Shane Drohan, who's a starting pitcher between AA and AAA last year in Boston. 14 starts, 3.17 ERA, 54 innings, 77 strikeouts, 21 walks. So he is a pretty talented starting pitching prospect for the Brewers this year. And they get David Hamilton, who's not very good. Good second baseman, can play short, but horrible at the plate. So for Boston, you pick up some offensive depth you didn't really need. He's not a young pitcher, who's expendable, but I would have saved him for a bigger trade, not for Caleb Durbin. But I think can be a good player. And the Brewers pick up a little bit more pitching depth, which isn't a bad thing. And then whatever David Hamilton is supposed to be, so kind of an trade there. NBA, one trade that snuck through the cracks that I wasn't able to cover last week. The Indiana Pacers acquire Ivica Zubac from Los Angeles Clippers. They send Bandic Malferin, Isaiah Jackson, and 2 first-round picks, an unprotected first in 2029, a protected first this year. If it is 5 through 9, then the Clippers get the pick. Otherwise, Indiana keeps the pick, and they will send a 31 unprotected first to the Clippers. So at first, I thought it was a complete fleece by the Clippers. The more I think about it, it's not as one-sided, but I do like this a lot for the Clippers in terms of a return. You got to get younger. I know you've been playing some great basketball, but still don't see you getting out of the first round of the playoffs. Bandic Malfrin's really good. He's averaging 17 points a game here, shooting 37% from 3. Loved him coming out of college a couple of years ago. Played well last year for Indiana. I thought should have gotten some more minutes in their finals run in the postseason. He's a really good young player. Still 23. I like him a lot. And I do like Isaiah Jackson. He's a solid big to have on your team. Was hurt most of last year. But he's averaging 6 points and 5 rebounds this year in only 16 minutes a game. Shooting 58% from the field. He's a solid center to have on your team. He's also very young. He's only 24 years old. And I do like Zubac. This is a next year trade. They want to bake through a pair of Halliburton with Miles Turner now in Milwaukee, of course. But he's a good player. He's averaging 14 and 11 this year. For his career, he averages 10 and 8. He broke out back in, last year was the best year of his career. Was second team all defense, averaged 16 points and 12 boards. Shot 62% from the field this year. Slight downturn from that, but still 28 years old. It's a good pickup, but if they end up trading a top 10 pick plus Malford and Isaiah Jackson, I think it's a little bit much for Zubac, just value-wise. But they understand it for both sides. Also, the Nets waived Cam Thomas. What are the Nets doing? Cam Thomas is not an efficient player. The guy shoots 4 times a game and sometimes fails to clear 20 points, but he's still, if nothing else, a decent scorer. And he's 24 years old. Why are you just cutting the guy? Come on. And the Bucks signed him, so look. He averaged 24 points a game last year. Only played 25 games. So he's injured a lot, but when he's healthy, he can score. But he's only a 34% three-point shooter. That's just okay. Just 32% this year, but I think he's a heat check guy. Okay, he's a heat check guy. Now, he's an excellent bench guard. He's like a Jordan Clarkson. I don't think he was in the right role in Brooklyn. I think he could play a little bit better and be a little more efficient in Milwaukee. Friday Night SmackDown this past week. So it started off with Drew McIntyre coming out and Cody Rhodes attacking him. He still holds a grudge from Drew, of course, eliminating him from the Rumble. I mean, they're probably going to do Cody and Drew WrestleMania again, and I'm going to throw up. Then we had Rio against Cameron James and Julia for the women's tag championships. Rio retains. Overall, a very solid match. We had Carmelo Hayes against The Miz in a non-title match. Well, Carmelo Hayes picks up the win. Of course, the Hayes and Dragunov feud continued a little bit backstage. By the way, that counter to Skull Crush finale Carmelo Hayes was incredible. Triple threat women's match in the chamber qualifying match. Lash Legend, Chelsea Green, and Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany picks the win. It was a decent match. I don't like Tiffany. She just isn't good. Her promo backstage was horrible. Her mic work is terrible. Chelsea Green, I'm not as big of a fan as some other people. She's funny, but just I don't think she's the best wrestler. And Lash Legend, she's still young. She has some potential, but she's very green. Though she did look good in the Royal Rumble. Tiffany picks up the win. I mean, neither of us should win the chamber. Kind of who cares? Steve Austin came out. His awesome theme song hit, and he's called everyone in the Rumble toxic. Called out somebody from the Rumble to fight him, and it was Obafemi, who, as expected, just destroys Kate Wilson in about 2 minutes. That was awesome. Really good segment. Then McIntyre came out again. He was pissed and got attacked by somebody else. This time Jacob Fatu, who thinks Drew attacked him. Are they ever going to reveal his attacker, or what are we doing here? It'd probably be a triple threat match at Mania. Fatu, Cody, and McIntyre. Tama Tonga against Shinsuke Nakamura. Tama Tonga wins with some help from his hooligans. Overall, was a good match. After Fatu was told to leave the building, as the MFTs continue to wreak havoc. Of course, Uncle had a very short little vignette there. We had Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez against Jade Cargill and Jordan Grace in the women's tag match. It was Grace and Cargill picking up the win, with Raquel costing Liv Morgan on accident. Kind of a time filler match, just to push along the storyline. And the main event was a triple threat between Randy, Aleister Black, and Sol Sikoa. Qualifying match for the men's chamber. Randy Orton, as expected, picked up the win in a decent match. And obviously, in between that, Drew had a really good promo. I'm glad he got some payback for Punk and Roman Reigns kind of burying him on Raw. I didn't like how that went over. And in between Trick Williams and Drew McIntyre, when Faith had a promo, and Drew said, if you ever meet me again, I'll take your lemon pepper steppers and shove them up your ass. So that was a really good segment. Trick Williams is the future. Overall, a decent episode of Friday Night SmackDown. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.